The salt wind howled like a dying hyena, tearing at the woman's tattered wrapper, whipping her long, gray-streaked hair into a storm around her face. She stood on the edge of the black basalt cliff, the Atlantic roaring below, its waves crashing against the jagged rocks with the fury of 1,000 angered ancestors. The sea was not just water, it was memory, it was blood, it was the final judge. And tonight, it would decide her fate. Her bare feet were raw, cracked from the journey, her body trembling not from cold, but from betrayal so deep it had hollowed her chest. She clutched a small, oilskin-wrapped bundle to her heart, the last remnant of her husband, the last proof of what was hers. Her eyes, sharp as a hawk's despite the years, scanned the darkness behind her. Torchlight flickered on the path, orange tongues licking the night, growing brighter with each breath. They were coming. And at the front, leading them with the swagger of a man who believed himself already king, was her son. Kofi, her Kofi. The boy she had carried for 9 months beneath the baobab tree, the child she had suckled under the stars, the son she had taught to weave kente cloth, to recite the proverbs of his ancestors, to honor the river spirits with palm wine and kola nuts. The boy who had once wept when she cut her finger, who had run barefoot through the village to bring her healing herbs. Now he stood at the head of the torch-bearing mob, his face shadowed, his voice cutting through the wind like a machete through sugarcane. "Mother," he called, his tone smooth, practiced, the voice of a man who had rehearsed this moment in his dreams. "Step back from the edge. The sea will not forgive you, but I will. I am your son. I still love you." She laughed, a dry, broken sound like wind through the dried reeds. "Love?" She spat, the word bitter as bitter leaf. "You call this love? You call this love, ambushing me in the night, dragging me from my home, binding my hands with ropes made from the very cloth I wove for your wedding? You call this love, telling your brothers and cousins to throw your mother into the ocean so you can claim your father's empire?" The wind carried her words back to them, and for a moment, the torchbearers hesitated. One of them, a young man with wide eyes and a scar across his cheek, lowered his torch slightly. But Kofi stepped forward, his jaw tight. "You don't understand, Mother," he said, voice rising. "You never understood. This empire was not yours to hold. It was his, my father's. And when he died, it was me he named in the will. Not you, not the council, me. But you locked the will in the iron chest beneath the ancestral shrine. You said it was for safekeeping. But I know the truth. You were afraid. Afraid that when the people saw the truth, they would crown me king, and you would be nothing." She closed her eyes, the wind stinging her cheeks. "Afraid?" she whispered. "I was afraid of you." She turned back to the sea, the bundle still pressed to her chest. "I did not lock the will to keep it from you, Kofi. I locked it to keep it from this, from the greed that eats a man's soul like termites in mahogany, from the hunger that makes a son forget the mother who gave him breath. I locked it because I knew the day would come when you would try to kill me for it." Kofi's face twisted. "You lie. You've always lied. You poisoned my father's mind against me. You told him I was weak, that I would fail. You wanted me to stay in the village, weaving cloth, singing songs, while you ruled in his place." She turned slowly, her eyes blazing. "I told him the truth, Kofi, that you were clever, yes, ambitious, yes, but that your heart was not yet ready to carry the weight of a kingdom. That the throne is not a prize to be won, it is a responsibility to be earned. And you have not earned it. Not yet." The mob stirred. Some of the younger men exchanged glances. A few elders, cloaked in indigo and cowrie shells, stepped forward, their faces grave. "Mama Ese," one of them said, voice low. "The people are divided. Some believe you, some believe your son. But the sea is no place for a mother. Come down. Let us speak. Let us seek the ancestors' guidance." She looked at him, her old friend, the village priest of the river spirits. "Nanaboa," she said, "I have sought their guidance. I have poured libations. I have fasted. I have dreamed. And the ancestors have shown me only one path, to stand here, to face what I have built, what I have lost, and what I must now let go." She raised the oilskin bundle high. "This is not just a will," she said. "It is a promise my husband made to the people of Adansi, a promise I have guarded for 20 years. And tonight I will fulfill it. Not for you, Kofi, not for power, but for the truth." Kofi stepped forward, his voice rising to a shout. "Then give it to me. Now, or I swear by the spirits of my fathers, I will have you thrown." She smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "You already have, my son," she whispered. "You already have." And with that, she stepped back. The wind caught her, the sea roared, and Mama Ese, matriarch of Adansi, mother of three, wife of the late King Kwame, stepped off the cliff into the waiting maw of the Atlantic. The torchbearers gasped. Kofi lunged forward, screaming her name, but it was too late. The waves swallowed her whole. Silence. Then, a single haunting wail rose from the shore, not from Kofi, but from the young man with the scar, who fell to his knees, clutching his chest as if struck. And far below, in the dark embrace of the ocean, the oilskin bundle floated for a moment, then sank. But let us go back. Let us go back to the beginning, to the time when the world was still whole, when the baobab tree still bore fruit, when the river still sang, and when a woman named Ese was not yet a ghost, but a queen in waiting. It was the season of the Yam festival, when the air was thick with the smell of roasting plantains, smoked fish, and the sweet, earthy scent of freshly dug tubers. The village of Adansi sat at the edge of the great forest, where the land rose in gentle hills toward the sacred grove, and the river on Cobra curled around the eastern border like a sleeping python. The people were preparing for the Odwaira, a time of cleansing, of thanksgiving, of ancestral communion. And Ese, then only 23, stood at the center of it all. She was not born royal. Her father was a master weaver, her mother a healer who knew the secrets of the forest. The bark that stops bleeding, the leaf that soothes fever, the root that drives away nightmares. Ese had learned both crafts. Her fingers were calloused from the loom, but her hands could diagnose illness with a touch. She was known as Ese the Wise, not because she spoke loudly, but because she listened. It was during the Yam festival that King Kwame first saw her. He was not yet king then, only the heir, a tall, broad-shouldered man with eyes like polished ebony and a voice that could calm a storm. He had come to the market to inspect the harvest, to ensure the people were fed, to listen to their grievances. But when he passed Essie's stall, where she was selling hand-woven cloth dyed with indigo and crushed hibiscus, he stopped. Not because of the cloth, but because of the way she worked. Her loom was old, the wood cracked, the threads uneven, but she wove with such precision, such rhythm, that the pattern seemed to breathe. And when a child dropped a basket of yams, spilling them across the path, Essie didn't scold. She knelt, helped the child gather them, then gave the child a piece of cloth to wipe his tears. Kwame watched, and when the market closed, he approached her. "You weave with more than thread," he said. "You weave with care." She looked up startled. "And you see with more than eyes," she replied. "You see with understanding." He laughed, a deep, rich sound that made the nearby chickens scatter. "I am Kwame, son of the king, and I am Essie, daughter of the weaver and the healer. Then we are both children of those who serve the people," he said, "and perhaps that is why I feel I have known you before." They spoke for hours that night, under the baobab tree, where the elders once gathered to settle disputes. They spoke of the river, of the forest, of the ancestors who walked in dreams. They spoke of the future, of a kingdom not built on gold, but on justice, on balance, on truth. And when the moon reached its zenith, Kwame took her hand. "Essie, daughter of the forest and the loom," he said, "will you walk with me, not as a wife, not yet, but as a partner, as a voice, as a light in the darkness that is to come?" She smiled. "Only if you promise never to make me wear a crown that weighs more than my heart can bear." He kissed her hand. "I promise." And so it began. 3 years later, Kwame became king. The old king, his father, had died peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his wives and children. The transition was smooth, but the real work began the day after the coronation. Adansi was not a rich kingdom. It had no gold mines, no vast plantations, but it had something far more valuable: a people who trusted their king, who believed in the ancestral covenant, the belief that the living and the dead walked together, that the ancestors watched, judged, and guided. And Essie, now Queen Essie, became the bridge. She traveled to every village, every hamlet, every fishing camp along the river. She sat with the elders. She listened to the women. She learned the songs, the dances, the proverbs. She fasted with the priests. She offered libations at the shrines. And when the people spoke of their troubles, of drought, of disease, of land disputes, she brought their words to Kwame. They are not asking for gold, she told him. They are asking for recognition, for dignity, for belonging. Kwame listened, and together they built a new kind of kingdom. They established schools under the baobab trees. They created a council of elders and women to advise on justice. They planted fruit orchards along the riverbanks. They banned the sale of children into servitude. They even sent young men to the coast to learn from foreign traders, but only if they promised to return and share their knowledge. And Isai, she became the voice of the voiceless. She wore no crown, but her presence was felt in every decision. She was not a warrior, but she stopped wars with words. She was not a priestess, but the river spirits answered her prayers. And then the children came. First, Ama, a girl with eyes like the morning sky, who would grow to be a healer like her grandmother. Then Kofi, born during the rainy season when the thunder rolled like drums and the lightning danced across the sky. He was a strong child, quick to laugh, quick to learn. He loved stories and would sit for hours as Ese told him tales of Anansi the spider, of Shaka the Zulu, of the great migration of the Ashanti. But even then there was something in Kofi's eyes, something sharp, watchful, hungry. Ese noticed. She would catch him staring at the royal throne when Kwame was absent. She would see him practicing speeches in the mirror, mimicking his father's voice. She once found him reading a book on military tactics, the art of war, when he was only 10. "Why do you read this?" she asked. He looked up, unashamed. "Because one day I will rule, and I must be ready." She knelt, placing her hands on his shoulders. "Kofi, the throne is not taken by force. It is given by the people, by the ancestors, by your deeds." He smiled, a smile too old for his face. "And I will earn it, mother. I will earn it all." She felt a chill then, though the sun blazed overhead. But she said nothing. Kwame, however, saw it too. One evening, as they sat by the river, watching the fireflies dance above the water, he turned to her. "Ese," said, "he is bright, brilliant even, but I fear he sees the kingdom as a prize, not a gift." She nodded. "I have felt it. He speaks of power as if it is a thing to be claimed, not earned." Kwame sighed. "I have been thinking, when I am gone, the council should choose the next ruler, not by blood, but by wisdom, by heart." Ese looked at him. "But Kofi is your heir. The people expect it." "And if he is not ready?" Kwame asked. "If he seeks power for himself, not for the people? What then?" She was silent. "I have written a will," he said. "Not in the royal archives, not in the council's records. I have hidden it in the iron chest beneath the ancestral shrine. It says that the throne shall go to the one who proves themselves worthy, not by birth, but by action, by sacrifice, by love." Esse's breath caught. "And if Kofi tries to claim it by force?" Kwame's eyes darkened. "Then the will shall remain sealed, and the ancestors will judge him." He took her hand. "I trust you, Ese. You are the only one who can guard this truth. You are the only one who sees the whole picture. Not just the crown, but the cost of wearing it." She kissed his forehead. "I will guard it," she whispered, "for the people, for the ancestors, for you." And so the secret was born. For years, Ese carried it, like a stone in her chest. She watched Kofi grow. He studied law, he traveled to the capital, he learned diplomacy. He even led a successful trade mission to the coast, returning with silk, spices, and new ideas. But she also saw him gather allies, men who whispered in corners, who questioned the old ways, who spoke of progress, as if it meant tearing down the shrines and selling the ancestral land. She heard the rumors. Kofi will not wait for the council. He will take the throne when his father dies. He has already promised the traders the river rights. He says the old ways are holding us back. Ese said nothing, but she prepared. She taught Ama the healing arts. She sent her to the northern villages to learn from the griots. She even began writing her own will, not for power, but for protection, for the truth. And then, one rainy night, Kwame fell ill. It started with a cough, then a fever, then a weakness in his limbs. The healers came, the priests chanted. The river spirits were appeased with offerings of palm wine, kola nuts, and white cloth. But the illness did not pass. On the third night, Kwame called for Ese. She came, holding a bowl of bitter leaf soup, the same soup her mother had given her when she was sick as a child. He smiled weakly. "You still remember?" "I remember everything," she said. He reached for her hand. "The chest beneath the shrine. You know where it is." "I do. If Kofi tries to take the throne, do not fight him. Let him believe he has won, but do not give him the key. The chest is sealed with a spirit lock. Only the true heir can open it." She frowned. "What do you mean?" "The lock is not of iron. It is of memory, of truth. The one who opens it must speak the true name of the kingdom. Not Adansi, not the land, but the heart of it. The name only you and I know." She closed her eyes. "Aniwa," he smiled. "Yes, Aniwa, the land of the people's voice, the land of the river's song, the land of balance." He coughed, blood staining his lips. "Ese, promise me, if Kofi becomes king by force, the will must remain hidden. The people must not know. Not yet. Only when the right one is ready, only when the heart is pure, only then open the chest." She wept. "I promise." He squeezed her hand. "And if I am gone, you must be strong, stronger than you have ever been, because the storm is coming." And with that, he closed his eyes and died. The village wailed. The drums sounded, the elders gathered, and Kofi stood at the front of the mourning procession, his face a mask of grief. But his eyes were already calculating. The burial was 3 days later, under the baobab tree, with offerings of yams, kola nuts, and a white goat. And when the grave was covered, Kofi stepped forward, his voice clear and strong. "My father, King Kwame, was a great man. He led us with wisdom. He protected us with love. And now, as his only son, as his chosen heir, I will continue his legacy. I will rule with strength, with vision, with progress." The crowd murmured. Some cheered, some looked to Ese. She stood silent, her face unreadable. But that night, when the village slept, she went to the ancestral shrine. The iron chest was there, hidden beneath a layer of sacred ash, wrapped in a cloth of white and gold. She touched it and whispered the name, Aniwa. The lock clicked, she opened it, and inside she found not just the will, but something else, a letter in Kwame's handwriting. "My dearest Ese, if you are reading this, then I am gone, and Kofi is likely already planning his claim. Know this, I did not name him heir in the will. I named you. Not as regent, not as guardian, but as the next ruler of Aniwa. For the throne is not a birthright, it is a calling. And you, my love, have carried it longer than I ever could. You have listened, you have healed, you have protected, you have loved the people more than any crown could demand. If Kofi tries to take the throne, let him. Let him believe he has won. But know this, the true power is not in the crown, it is in the truth, and only you hold it. When the time is right, when the people are ready, open the chest. Let them see the will, let them choose. And if Kofi stands in your way, know that I forgive you for whatever you must do to protect this kingdom. With all my heart, Kwame." Ese wept, not from grief, but from weight, the burden of truth, the burden of power, the burden of a son who would one day try to kill her for it. She sealed the chest and returned to the village. For the next year, she played her role. She supported Kofi's rise. She attended his councils. She even helped him draft new laws. But she watched and she waited. And Kofi, believing he had won, grew bolder. He dismissed the elder council. He banned the river rituals. He sold the fishing rights to foreign traders. He began building a palace on the very land where the ancestors were buried. The people murmured, but they were afraid. Then one night, Amma came to Ese. She was trembling. "Mother," she whispered, "Kofi has sent men to the shrine. He is searching for the will. He says you have it, and that you are hiding it to steal his throne." Ese closed her eyes. "He has already decided," she said. "He does not want the truth. He wants power." Amma looked at her. "What do we do?" Ese stood. "We prepare." For weeks she gathered allies, the old priest, Nanaboa, the griot who knew the songs of the ancestors, the fisherman who remembered Kwame's kindness, the women who had been healed by her mother's herbs. She told them the truth, about the will, about the chest, about Aniwa, and they believed her, because she had earned it. But Kofi was not idle. He spread lies. He said Ese was mad, that she had poisoned Kwame, that she had stolen the royal treasury, that she was planning to sell the kingdom to the British. The people were divided. Some believed her, some believed him. And then the night before the Odwira festival, the day when the ancestors were said to walk among the living, Kofi made his move. He came to the palace with 20 armed men. He demanded the will. Ese refused. "It is not yours to take," she said. "It is the people's to see." Kofi laughed. The people are sheep, mother, and I am the shepherd. Now, give me the will, or I will have my men search your chambers, and if they find anything, I will have you charged with treason." Ese looked at him and smiled. "You are not my shepherd, Kofi. You are a thief, and thieves are always caught." He stepped forward. "Give me the will." She turned and walked toward the river. "Then come and take it," she said. He followed, and the men followed. They chased her through the village, past the market, past the shrine, past the fields. She ran barefoot, her wrapper torn, her breath ragged, but she knew the land, she knew the paths. She led them to the cliff, to the edge of the world. And there she stood and told them everything: the will, the chest, the true name of the kingdom, the truth. And when she finished, Kofi screamed, "You lie. You've always lied. You poisoned my father. You stole his love. You want to destroy me." He lunged, and his men grabbed her. They bound her hands, they tied her feet, they carried her to the edge. And Kofi stood before her, tears in his eyes, not of sorrow but of rage. "I am your son," he whispered, "but you have made me your enemy, and now I must do what a son must do." He pushed her, and she fell, and the sea swallowed her. But the sea is not just water. The sea is memory. The sea is judgment. And that night, as the torchbearers returned to the village, something strange happened. The iron chest beneath the shrine, locked, sealed, untouched, opened by itself. And inside, the will floated out, carried on a current of warm air, and landed in the hands of Nanaboa, the priest. He read it and wept, because it said, "To my beloved wife Ese, you are the true ruler of Aniwa. The throne is yours, not because I name you, but because the ancestors have chosen you. And if you are gone, let the will remain sealed until the people are ready, until the heart of the kingdom is pure, until the son who betrayed you is broken by his own greed. Only then let the truth be known." And below, in smaller script, "And if Kofi throws you into the sea, know that the ocean will not keep you. It will return you, in its own time, in its own way." Nanaboa looked up and saw something in the sky, a shape, a figure, standing on the waves, wrapped in sea foam and moonlight, and singing a song, the song of Aniwa, the song of the river, the song of the ancestors. And the people, those who had doubted, those who had followed Kofi, those who had wept for Ese, heard it, and they knew. The sea had taken her, but the sea had not kept her. For 3 days, the song echoed across the coast. Fishermen claimed to see a woman walking on the water, her feet bare, her hair long, her voice carrying on the wind. Children drew her in the sand. Elders whispered her name in prayer. And Kofi? He tried to silence it. He burned the will. He banned the song. He had the shrine sealed. But the people remembered. And one night during the Odwira festival, the drums began to play a new rhythm, not the rhythm of war, but the rhythm of return. And as the people danced, a figure emerged from the forest, tall, dressed in a wrapper woven from sea foam and starlight. Her hair long and silver, her eyes deep as the ocean, and in her hand, the oilskin bundle. She walked to the center of the village and placed it on the ground. The people fell silent. Kofi stood on the steps of his new palace, his face pale. "Mother," he whispered. She looked at him and spoke. "You threw me into the ocean, Kofi, and the ocean returned me, not because it forgives you, but because the truth cannot be drowned, the ancestors cannot be silenced, and the heart of the kingdom cannot be stolen." She opened the bundle and revealed the true will, the one Kwame had written, the one that named her as queen, the one that spoke of Aniwa, the one that said, "The throne is not taken, it is given, and only the one who serves the people may wear it." The people knelt, not out of fear, but out of love. And Kofi? He fell to his knees, not from shame, but from realization, because he finally understood. He had not been fighting for a throne, he had been fighting for love, for his father's approval, for his mother's pride, for a place in the story. But he had chosen power over love, and the ocean had shown him the cost. Ese stepped forward and placed her hand on his head. "You are my son," she said, "and I love you. But love does not mean giving you what you want. It means giving you what you need. And what you need is to learn, to serve, to earn your place." She turned to the people. "The throne is not mine to keep. It is ours to share. And from this day, the kingdom of Aniwa will be ruled not by blood, but by wisdom. Not by force, but by truth. Not by one, but by all." She raised the will and tore it in half. "This is not a prize," she said. "It is a promise. And the promise is this: we will build a kingdom where no mother is betrayed by her son, where no child is raised to hunger for power, where the river still sings and the ancestors still walk and the people are heard. And the people rose and sang and danced, and for the first time in years, the village of Adansi was whole. As for Kofi, he did not become king, but he became a teacher. He went to the villages, he taught the children. He helped the poor, he listened. And one day, years later, when Essie was old and gray, sitting under the baobab tree, Kofi came to her. He knelt and placed a small hand-woven cloth in her hands. "It is the pattern of Aniwa," he said. "I wove it myself. For you, for the kingdom, for us." She smiled and hugged him and whispered, "You have finally earned it, my son, not the throne, but forgiveness. And that is the greatest crown of all." And so the story ends, but the lesson remains. For power is not in the crown, it is in the heart. Not in the throne, but in the truth. Not in the name, but in the deed. And the greatest betrayal is not when a son throws his mother into the sea. It is when he forgets why she taught him to swim. The ancestors are watching, the river is singing, and the truth always returns. So listen, learn, and remember, for the story is never truly over.